Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and we are back with more in the Buddha's words. Yeah, we had a long piece last episode, and it's a fairly decent size this time, but not near as bad. Um, anyway, let's hop into this. Chapter 2, uh, Part 3, Section 3. The Ancient City. Monks, before my enlightenment, while I was still a bodhisattva, not yet fully enlightened, it occurred to me, alas, this world has fallen into trouble. Yet it does not understand the escape from this suffering headed by aging and death. When now will an escape be discerned from this suffering headed by aging and death? Then, monks, it occurred to me, when what exists does aging and death come to be? By what is aging and death conditioned? Then, monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is birth, aging and death comes to be. Aging and death has birth as its condition. Then, monks, it occurs to me, when what exists does birth come to be? Existence, clinging, craving, feeling, contact, the six sense bases, name and form. By what is name and form conditioned? Then, monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is consciousness, name and form comes to be. Name and form has consciousness as its condition. Then, monks, it occurred to me, when what exists does consciousness come to be? By what is consciousness conditioned? Then, monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough in wisdom. When there is name and form, consciousness comes to be. Consciousness has name and form as its condition. Then, monks, it occurred to me, this consciousness turns back. It does not go further than name and form. It is to this extent that one may be born and age and die, pass away and be reborn. That is, when there is consciousness with name and form as its condition, and name and form with consciousness as its condition. With name and form as condition, the six sense bases, with the six sense bases as condition, contact. Such is the origin of this whole mass of suffering. Origination. Origination, thus, monks, in regard to things unheard before, there arose in me vision, knowledge, wisdom, penetration, and light. Then, monks, it occurred to me, what does not exist does aging and death not come to be? With the cessation of what does the cessation of aging and death come about? Then, monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is no birth, aging and death does not come to be. With the cessation of birth comes cessation of aging and dying. It occurred to me, when what does not exist, does birth not come to be? Existence, clinging, craving, feeling, contact, the six sense bases, name and form. With the cessation of what does the cessation of name and form come about? Then, monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is no consciousness, name and form does not come to be. With the cessation of consciousness comes cessation of name and form. It occurred to me, when what does not exist, does consciousness not come to be? With the cessation of what does the cessation of consciousness come about? Then, monks, through careful attention, there took place in me a breakthrough by wisdom. When there is no name and form, consciousness does not come to be. With the cessation of name and form does cessation comes cessation of consciousness. Then, monks, it occurred to me, I have discovered this path to enlightenment, that is, with the cessation of name and form comes cessation of consciousness. With the cessation of consciousness comes cessation of name and form. With the cessation of name and form, cessation of the six base senses. With the cessation of the six base senses, cessation of contact. Such is the cessation of the whole mass of suffering. Cessation. Thus, monks, in regard to things unheard, before there arose in me vision, knowledge, wisdom, penetration, and light. Suppose, monks, a man wandering through the forest would see an ancient path, an ancient road traveled upon by people in the past. He would follow it and would see an ancient city, an ancient capital that has been inhabited by people in the past, with parks, groves, ponds, and ramparts. A delightful place. Then the man would inform the king or a royal minister, Sire, know that while wandering through the forest I saw an ancient path, an ancient road traveled upon by people in the past. I followed it and saw an ancient city, an ancient capital that had been inhabited by people in the past, with parks, groves, ponds, and ramparts. A delightful place. Renovate that city, sire. When the king or royal minister would renovate the city, and sometime later that city would become successful and prosperous, well populated, filled with people, attained to growth and expansion. So too, monks, I saw the ancient path, the ancient road traveled by the perfectly enlightened ones in the past. And what is that ancient path, that ancient road? It is just this noble eightfold path. That is right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. I followed the path, and by doing so, I have directly known aging and death, its origin, its cessation, and its way leading to its cessation. I have directly known birth, existence, clinging, craving, feeling, contact, the six sense bases, name and form, consciousness, volitional formations, their origin, their cessation, and the way leading to their cessation. Having directly known them, I have explained them to the monks, the nuns, the male lay followers, and the female lay followers. This spiritual life, monks, has become successful and prosperous, extended, popular, widespread, well proclaimed among devas and humans. But that ends that particular piece. Let's see the introduction. Okay. 233. While this text may convey the impression that the last knowledge broke upon the Buddha's mind as a sudden, spontaneous intuition, 233 corrects this impression with an account of Bodhisattva on the eve of his enlightenment, reflecting deeply on the suffering of old age and death. He then methodically traces this suffering back to its conditions by a process that involves, at each step, careful attention. Yoniso Manasikara, leading to a breakthrough by wisdom, Panya Abhismaya. This process of investigation culminates in the discovery of dependent or origination, which thereby becomes the philosophical cornerstone of his teaching. So, yeah. And he kind of pieces together everything, this leads to this leads to that, trying to understand how birth and origination starts, but also death and cessation. And this he discusses in this particular piece. And he even puts it forth that even though discovering an ancient city on an ancient path that people used to inhabit, but it is no longer so, it can still be put to use. And he pleads for the king or the minister or the regent, whoever it may be, to restore this city. And because effort and meaning is put forth to it, it does come back to life. It even starts expanding. But yeah. At least that's my understanding from reading that particular piece. But yeah, so much is connected. Even the alive and the inanimate, the non-alive. Because he provides ways to kind of discover about them. talking about how birth does not affect that which is not alive, how death does not affect that which is not alive, yet those that are alive are affected. But we'll go ahead and end this episode there. As always, educate thyself, think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.